Yo, what is up, Dodgers Nation? It's your boy Victor. And listen, I don't even know where to start today because the offseason is not letting us breathe. And honestly, I'm here for it. We got two stories hitting at the same time, and when you put them together, they're telling us something really important about where this team is headed. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on this. First, there's a mock trade floating around that has the Dodgers going after a two-time All-Star pitcher from the Blue Jays, a guy who ate up 166 innings last season, who's proven he can take the ball every single start without breaking down. And look, I know it's a mock trade, I know, but the reasoning behind it, that's what got me, because it makes so much sense for what this rotation actually needs right now. And then, almost like the universe is confirming the vibe, the Dodgers just quietly signed another former Blue Jay, a versatile infielder who made the All-Star game a few years back to a minor league deal. Yeah, another ex-Blue Jay landing in LA. At this point, Toronto gotta be like, bro, what is going on over there? These two moves, one real, one a scenario, are pointing at the same thing. The Dodgers are building, they're thinking ahead, and they are not playing around. We're gonna break both of these down right now and reveal exactly who these guys are. But real quick, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We are pushing hard to get to 12,000 subscribers, and we are so close. Drop a like too, it genuinely helps more than you think. All right, stay with me because you do not want to miss this. Alright, so let's talk about this mock trade, because when I first saw this, I had to stop and read it twice. The Dodgers going after Jose Berrios from the Toronto Blue Jays? 3 prospects heading to Canada in exchange for a 2-time All-Star starting pitcher. And honestly, the more I thought about it, the more it started making a whole lot of sense to me. Look, I love our rotation. I really do. Yamamoto, Glasnow, Snell, on paper, that's filthy. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night as a Dodgers fan: health. Every single one of those guys has had injury concerns. And then you add Ohtani into the mix, and yeah, Shohei is going to be on a strict innings limit as a two-way player. He's not going to be your traditional fifth-day starter eating up 180 innings. So what happens when one of those arms goes down in July, or August, or worse, in October? That's the question nobody wants to ask, but we have to ask it. That's exactly where Berrios comes in. In 2025, the man threw 166 innings, 9 wins, 138 strikeouts, 4.17 ERA, 1.30 WIP. Is he a top-of-the-rotation ace? No, probably not. But is he the kind of guy who shows up every 5 days, competes, goes deep into games, and doesn't put extra pressure on your bullpen? Absolutely. And for a team like the Dodgers, a team that is built to win now, that kind of reliability is worth its weight in gold. And what I really respect about Berrios is that he's not just a stat guy. He's got a high-velocity fastball paired with a late-breaking changeup that genuinely keeps hitters off balance. He's been in big games. He knows what pressure feels like. That's the kind of veteran presence that matters in a 7-game playoff series when everything is on the line. Now, let's talk about the cost, because I know some of you are already in the comments like, Victor, not the prospects, bro. And I hear you, I really do. Josue DePaula, Jackson Ferris, James Tibbs III, these are legitimate pieces. DePaula hit around 280 with 18 homers and 20 stolen bases in the minors last year. Ferris had a 3.45 ERA with 110 strikeouts in 95 innings. Tibbs was solid too, power, speed, real upside at middle infield. These are not throw-in guys, these are real prospects with real futures. But here's my honest opinion, and you can agree or disagree, drop it in the comments. The Dodgers farm system is deep enough to absorb this. We're not the Pirates, we're not rebuilding. We're a World Series champion with a championship window that is wide open right now. And sometimes you have to be willing to trade tomorrow for today, especially when today includes Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and a roster built to compete at the highest level. Toronto makes sense on their end too. They've got Gausman, Bieber, Cease. They don't necessarily need Berrios in their rotation the same way we do, so they flip a veteran arm for 3 controllable high-upside prospects and start building toward their next window. Both sides have a real reason to do this deal. That's what makes it interesting. Now, is this actually going to happen? It's a mock trade, so I can't tell you it's done. But what I can tell you is that the logic is real, the need is real, and if the Dodgers front office is paying attention, and they always are, a move like this would make this rotation genuinely scary heading into 2026. Alright, so that's the big trade scenario. But here's the thing, while we're sitting here talking about the Dodgers potentially going after a guy from Toronto, the team already made a quiet move this week that caught my attention, and it involves another former Blue Jay landing in Los Angeles, a guy with all-star history, a versatile glove, and something to prove. Who is it? What does it mean for the roster? Stick around, because that story is coming up next and it's worth hearing.
Okay, so now let's get into the second story of the day. And this one is a little different. It's not a blockbuster move, it's not a trade that shakes up the league, but it caught my attention, and honestly, it says a lot about the kind of organization the Dodgers are running right now. Santiago Espinal has signed a minor league deal with Los Angeles. Yeah, another former Blue Jay, another guy who wore Toronto blue, now heading to Dodger blue. And look, before you click off thinking this is a minor league filler story, stick with me for a second, because there's actually something real here worth talking about. So who is Espinal? If you don't follow him closely, here's the quick version. He's 31 years old, born in the Dominican Republic, came up through the Blue Jays system and debuted with Toronto back in 2020. He was a real part of that roster for several years, a versatile infielder, the kind of glue guy that managers love because he can play multiple positions and he competes every single day. His best season was 2022 when he made the All-Star game, hit .267 with 7 homers and 51 RBIs. Solid, dependable, exactly what a contender needs on the bench. But then things slowed down. He was traded to the Reds before the 2024 season, hit .246, then .243 the following year, and in 2025, 0 home runs in 114 games, just 16 RBIs. That's a tough stretch, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Those numbers are hard to look at for a guy who was an all-star not that long ago. So where does that leave him now? On a minor league deal with the Dodgers, fighting for a spot on a roster that is absolutely loaded from top to bottom. And I mean that literally. The report says it's unclear if he'll even get a chance with this team. That's how deep we are right now. And here's my honest take as a Dodgers fan. I actually like this move. Not because I think Espinal is going to come in and be a difference maker, that's probably not realistic given where his numbers have been, but because this is exactly the kind of low-risk, high-character signing that smart organizations make. You give a veteran a shot at a minor league deal, you bring in competition and experience at a position of depth, and if he earns his way onto the roster, great. If not, you haven't lost anything. The Dodgers do this better than almost anyone in baseball. They find guys who still have something left to prove, give them an environment, give them a coaching staff, and sometimes those guys surprise you. I'm not saying Espinal is going to be a revelation, but I'm also not writing him off. 31 years old, all-star history, versatile glove. In the right situation, that profile still has value. What I find interesting too is the connection to the Blue Jays. We just talked about a mock trade scenario where the Dodgers could potentially be acquiring a pitcher from Toronto, and now the real news of the day is a former Blue Jay infielder signing with LA. There's something almost poetic about it. The team we beat in the 2025 World Series keeps sending us players, whether it's in trade scenarios or in actual signings. Toronto's loss, literally, keeps becoming our gain. And this isn't just Espinal either. On the same day this was announced, another former Blue Jay, Ty France, signed a minor league deal with the Padres. So multiple guys from that Toronto roster are now finding new homes, moving on, trying to write new chapters. Baseball is wild like that. But back to us, and back to what this signing actually means for Dodgers Nation. If you're hoping Espinal becomes a starter or a key piece of the 2026 roster, I'd pump the brakes a little. The competition for spots on this team is fierce, and his recent production doesn't make him a lock for anything. But if you're asking me whether I'm okay with the Dodgers kicking the tires on a former all-star with positional versatility on a minor league deal, 100%, every single time. That's just smart baseball. Now, let me pull back and look at both of these stories together, because I think when you put them side by side, they actually tell you something really important about where the Dodgers are right now as an organization. On one hand, you've got this Berrios mock trade scenario, a move that would be aggressive, bold, prospect costly, and aimed at solving a very real rotation depth problem heading into 2026. On the other hand, you've got the Espinal signing, quiet, low risk, no guaranteed roster spot, just a veteran getting a shot. And here's what those two stories say to me when I put them together. The Dodgers are thinking on multiple levels at the same time. They're not just focused on the big, flashy moves. They're filling out depth, they're managing risk, they're being smart with resources while also being willing to go all in when the moment calls for it. That's championship DNA. That's what separates organizations that win once from organizations that keep winning. We are defending World Series champions. The target is on our backs. Every team in baseball is coming for us in 2026, and the front office knows that, so they're not sitting still.
They're evaluating trade scenarios for frontline pitching, they're signing veteran depth pieces, they're doing everything they can to make sure this window stays open as long as possible. As a fan, I'm not worried, I'm excited, but I'm also watching closely because the moves made between now and opening day are going to tell us a lot about whether this team is truly built to repeat or whether we're going to be fighting for our lives again come October. Either way, I'm here for every single moment of it, and I hope you are too. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We are so close to 12,000 subscribers, and this community keeps growing every single day. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like on this video. It genuinely helps us keep bringing you this content every day. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go Dodgers.